What is up, my dudes and dudettes? In today's video, I'm going to be ceramic coating this beautiful matte blue Fisker Ocean. Now, ceramic coating matte paint can be very intimidating, and just maintaining matte paint in general can be pretty intimidating. But no worries, today I'm going to walk you through all the steps I take as a mobile detailer to make sure the job gets done professionally. That way, at the end of the day, when the customer and I shake hands, we both walk away happy. If you're curious why I choose DIY Detail's 8-year ceramic coating when it comes to ceramic coating matte paint, then be sure to stick around until the end of the video and I'll be sure to thoroughly cover that part. Now, we should start by addressing that we cannot polish on matte paint. So if there are any imperfections in the surface, or if we're creating any imperfections in the surface during the prep wash process, then we don't have the option to come back through with a polisher and polish those out. So with that being said, we're taking every precaution we can to make sure that we do not put any scratches in this paint during the prep wash process. So keep that in mind if you think some of this sounds a little excessive. So jumping right into it, my very first step that I'm doing here is iron decontamination. Since we can't clay this vehicle, we're just going with a chemical iron decontamination, and we're using Iron X by CarPro. I literally just snow foam it over the entire vehicle, and I let it dwell for about 3 to 5 minutes or until you see a reaction occur. Unfortunately, on darker paint like this, we're not going to see the reaction occur, so that's why we're making sure we let it sit for at least 5 minutes. And as long as we're in the shade and not letting it dry on the surface, then we're going to be just fine. And as to not waste any time while that reaction takes place, I go ahead and utilize that time to start washing the wheels and tires. While I'm washing those wheels and tires, which it takes at least 5 minutes, I'm keeping an eye on that Iron X the whole time, making sure it's not drying on the surface. So now that those wheels and tires are done, I know it's been at least 5 minutes. Then I move on to methodically rinsing the whole vehicle with the pressure washer. I do overlapping passes from top to bottom. This is not only knocking off the Iron X, but it's also knocking off that first initial layer of dirt on the surface before moving on to the next step. Okay, so moving on to that next step, we are going to foam the whole vehicle down with an excellent soap called Lift by CarPro again. Now, we're going to foam this over the entire vehicle and just let it start doing its work. It literally will just lift that dirt right out of the paint. Just like the Iron X by CarPro, we're making sure this is done in the shade so we can let it sit on the surface long enough to do its work. Again, in that 3 to 5 minute range. Then once I think it's done doing its work, I follow that same rinse procedure that I was using on the Iron X, going top to bottom with overlapping passes, maintaining a safe distance from the car, but using that pressure to really blast any remaining dirt off the surface before we move on to that contact wash portion of the prep. For the final stage of the prep wash, I have Dawn dish soap loaded in my foam cannon. The reason for this being it's a pH neutral soap, and it does a really good job of stripping oils, waxes, sealants, anything of that nature that may be left on the paint. We want to make sure we get that off so that our ceramic coating bonds directly to the clear coat and there are no barriers between the ceramic coating and the clear coat. I also have a 5-gallon bucket full of deionized water and a fresh microfiber wash mitt to make sure that I'm not, using an old contaminated wash mitt that could potentially have sand or dirt trapped in it, causing scratches. Just want to take a quick second and show you guys the bottom of my bucket. There are 0 dirt particles in the bottom of this bucket. Typically, you'll see granules of dirt down in the bottom when you're done with the wash, but there are absolutely none in this water. That's one way to know you did a really good job of eliminating all that dirt from the surface before you did your contact wash. Now, a very important step, which is drying the vehicle thoroughly. I use a chamois and a blower to dry the vehicle. I will literally walk the vehicle 4+ times, hitting all the seams, door handles, tail lights, headlights, grills, wheels, with my blower and following it up with the chamois. I also will open all the doors, wipe out all the door jams, open the rear hatch, close the rear hatch. These things really help get the water moving from its hiding spots and working it down into an area where you can blow it out again and wipe it up with the chamois again. Additionally, all these door jams are going to be getting ceramic coated as well, so it's important to properly dry them and prep them. At this point, the vehicle does need more time to drip out, so I take advantage of that downtime and I begin prepping and coating the wheels. I take a product called Erase by CarPro, liberally spray it onto a microfiber towel, and thoroughly go through every nook and cranny of the wheel to make sure it's properly cleaned and prepped before that final step of putting the coating on. Now we are finally ready to begin applying the coating. So I take a fresh microfiber applicator, apply the coating to it, and then thoroughly apply it to all the nooks and crannies of the wheel. This is a graphene ceramic coating that I stock on my truck. It's very easy to work with. It's much like wax in the sense of you apply it and then it'll begin to haze up. Once you see that haze form on the surface, you take a fresh microfiber and level the coating and buff it to a mirror-like shine, as you can see in this clip. Now, in the name of finding more stuff to get done, while the vehicle continues to drip out and dry out, I take that time to begin coating all the glass on the vehicle. Now, I'm using the same graphene ceramic coating that I used on the wheels because I tend to have a heavy hand when it comes to applying ceramic to the applicator. What I mean by that is I don't want to risk using my DIY Detail 8-year ceramic coating on the glass and the wheels because I'm always fearful that I might come up short when it comes to coating the paint. So that is why I opt for using this graphene ceramic coating on the wheels and the glass, because I stock a ton of it on my truck and I'm confident that I won't run out of my coating for the paint. Now, I want to take a quick second and also note that I am using brand new microfiber rags on this whole job, but they have been washed one time prior to me using them. And the reason for that being is brand new rags fresh out of the package tend to have a lot of lint in them, and when you have this fresh coating on there and you're getting ready to level it off, sometimes it can be a little bit tacky, and as you wipe through and level the coating and pull off the excess, sometimes you will leave that lint trail behind, and it's especially apparent on glass and gloss black trim such as like the A pillars and B pillars. So the wheels are coated, the glass is coated, and we are ready to apply to the paint. I do one final walk around to make sure there's no more water dripping out, and also to look for any imperfections such as this one and this one here on the back. Now, with this being matte paint, there isn't much we can do about them, but it is important to point them out to the customer, and then we're ready to get started. Now, we're going with DIY Detail's 8-year ceramic coating specifically because it is formulated without gloss enhancement. Not all ceramics are created equal. Some are designed specifically to be super slick and super glossy. This one is not. Your customer intentionally purchased matte paint, so it's your job to keep it matte paint. With all that being said, prep the panel that you're about to coat with your favorite panel prep spray, and we're ready to begin applying the coating. You're going to start by taking the foam applicator that they provide for you in the kit, and you're going to apply a couple drops right down the center of the applicator. Safely set that bottle of ceramic somewhere out of the way that you're not going to knock it over, and begin framing out a section of the door that you're going to begin coating. Work your way through the entire door panel using a circular buffing motion with your hand and making overlapping passes as you travel. Believe it or not, those 3 to 5 drops that you added to the applicator will get you through this entire door panel. Just keep going until you no longer see a trail being left behind by the applicator. Be sure to get all the black trim at the lower portion of the door as well, or any other trim pieces that may be on the door panel. And another thing to note is you should be working fairly quickly. You should be able to get through this entire door in less than 1 full minute. Immediately after applying the coating, you're going to grab a brand new fresh microfiber rag and keep it quarter folded the whole time and start leveling the coating right away. I tend to be a bit of an over leveler, but with matte paint, I don't really feel like there is such a thing. Meaning, feel free to go over the door panel 3+ times by flipping your microfiber rag to a new surface and going over it again. Because if there are any high spots, you don't really get a second chance to come back and fix those at a later time. It's a one time, one chance kind of scenario. So over leveling is a good thing in this situation. Once I have all the exterior panels, grills, lights, trims, mirrors, everything coated, I then move on to coating all the door jambs. While you're coating the door jambs, be sure to get all the little trim pieces of the rear hatch door, the exposed paint on the rear hatch door, and also the exposed paint that's on the doors themselves. And while you're going in and out of these areas, be sure to keep a rag handy so when you're pulling those door handles, you're not putting your fingerprints all over that fresh ceramic coating. And just like that, the job is complete and it is looking sexy, if I do say so myself. Now, it still has a very matte appearance to it, but it does have that little bit of shine to it now though, but it actually balances out well to like this nice satin finish. It's not too heavy either direction, but it just looks amazing. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You can see the ceramic really helped give all the black trim at the bottom just that nice deep black appearance again too. Although this car is brand new, the black trim did not look great on it, so it really enhanced that, and that really helps the blue pop even better. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, I feel like there are some things we need to go over regarding the selection of the coating for matte paint in particular, and guiding your customer to properly maintain their coating and matte paint from here on out in the future. These are things that I go over with on the front end of the deal and when the job is complete. Let's start with the selection of the ceramic coating. Your customer specifically bought a vehicle with matte paint, so it is our responsibility as a professional detailer to ensure when the job is done, they still have matte paint. That is why I specifically choose DIY Details 8-year coating, because this particular coating was formulated toward durability and toughness rather than slickness and gloss. So in my experience, it really is the perfect choice for matte paint. And I make sure to go over this very thoroughly with the customer on the front end. I make sure that they 100% understand that they are going to get a slight uptick in overall shine no matter what. This is what's called due diligence. We have to take the time on the front end to explain these things because we don't want there to be any surprises when the job's already done and it's time for them to pay for the coating. So the next point that I emphasize to the customer is how important it is to properly maintain this paint moving forward. One point that I hit on really hard is that they have to be washing this car with deionized water, in my opinion. Now, yes, you could get away with washing it with tap water and drying it immediately, sure, but there's always water hiding in cracks and seams and door jambs and mirrors that you will never fully get out. And then you travel down the road and those run out, and then the car sits in the sun all day and these hard water spots can potentially bake in. Now with gloss paint, it's not the end of the world. We can buff these things out and correct it. Whereas on matte paint, your only real option to correct something like water spots is going to be a water spot chemical for removing them. You're not going to be able to use abrasives and polishes to get them out. So it's really important to not accumulate any water spots. Now, the next point that I hammer hard on is that this vehicle should be maintained weekly. So your first week should be a non-contact wash, second week contact wash, third week non-contact, fourth week contact wash. Just keep that schedule going for the life of the vehicle. Now, for the non-contact wash, I highly recommend foam cannoning the entire vehicle, letting the soap dwell for a bit, and then thoroughly rinsing it. And for the contact wash portion of it, I recommend the double foam cannon method and the 2-bucket method. We have to take those extra precautions just to make sure that we don't put scratches in this paint, especially if we're going to be washing it every week. We don't want to induce weekly scratches into this paint. So it's really important that we take these extra steps when we're washing the vehicle. The last crucial point that I hammer on hard is bird droppings and bug splatter has to be addressed as soon as physically possible. We cannot let bird droppings and dead bugs sit and rot in the paint, in the sun, for more than a few hours if possible. I know that's not realistic, but they should honestly be attended to same day whenever possible. So with all that being said, guys, if you want more content like this, please be sure to support me by using my affiliate links down in the description whenever possible. And also, you support me a ton just by watching this video, but if you could hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment down below, that would be a massive help and I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys to the moon and back, and God bless you all. We'll catch you on the next one.